and say, but oh, he looks like my opponent. You're beating the out of it. And this is a true story.
This guy, I beat him everywhere in striking, but this guy just talk too much, so he's a funny guy.
You fought once in the middleweight division. You're moving up to fight an easier fight. 205 division soft as right now. So he's like, I'm going to go fight Yuri. You're picking a really easy path. You're not a double champ. You've won a belt once. Like, I hope the UFC tells him to go himself. When I walk into a gym, do you think that I go find the little weakest man? I say, let's spar.
Jake Paul just said something that's got the entire fight world on edge. He claims he would dismantle Andrew Tate in a boxing ring. Fast. Not edge him out. Not outpoint him. Completely take him apart. Now that's not casual trash talk. That's a direct challenge with real weight behind it. And the moment it hit the internet, it lit a fire under one of the most explosive potential rivalries in crossover combat sports right now. Because this isn't just about two guys fighting. It's about ego, influence, and two massive personalities colliding in a way that feels almost inevitable. For a long time, the idea of the Paul brothers going head-to-head with the Tate brothers felt like background noise. Idol-indisen en zyramo hindi per yayak kor iron mordig for brain sandib. Something fans joked about but never truly expected to happen. That's changed, and it's changed fast. Now, with both sides actively stepping back into the fight spotlight, this isn't just speculation anymore. It's a storyline picking up real momentum. Jake Paul is gearing up for the toughest challenge of his career. Andrew Tate is re-entering the fight world.
You can still knock me out. Every human being has a breaking point. Our brain presets our breaking point for us. So when we're training and you feel like that little voice in your head that says, there's only 30 seconds on the clock, I don't need to get up. Every time you listen to that voice in your head, it takes your breaking point and it brings it lower, lower, lower. Every time you tell that voice, go fuck yourself, and you go a little bit past it, guess what? Now your brain is raising its breaking point. You always just want to keep that breaking point going higher, 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 higher. I'll always be the hardest working guy in the
The way you fight.
After years away, and suddenly the timing lines up perfectly. And here's the shift. People aren't asking if this fight happens anymore. They're asking when. Jake Paul is deep in training right now, preparing for a fight that could define his entire career, a massive leap against a legitimate heavyweight force. And yet, even with that kind of pressure, he's already looking ahead, because Andrew Tate's name keeps coming up. Not sonodekti dorsobarai. Not as a maybe someday opponent, but as unfinished business waiting to explode. The conversation has moved past fantasy into something that feels real, especially with talk of a full-scale event featuring both the Paul brothers and the Tate brothers on the same card. Think about that for a second. Two families, one night, global spotlight. That's not just a fight, that's an event. When Jake Paul was asked directly about Andrew Tate, there was no hesitation. No doubt, no second guessing. He made it clear, if they ever step into the ring, he expects a fast, decisive finish. That level of confidence comes from activity. Jake's been active, training, fighting, staying sharp, all them being Ween Werbe for Wayne Benim, while Tate's been out of the game for.
You see people go through their life and it's boring, it sucks. Every day they wake up in routine, they go to the job, they sit by the pool, they grab a beer, they drink, and they're just waiting to die. I love what I do. It's scary, it sucks, man, but you're in there and it's like, it's meaningful. It's the only kind of meaning that we have in our life. It's real. Guys get hurt, guys can bleed. Like, it's something so primitive that, like, as much as I hate being in there and I think it shortens my life because the mental mindset, man, like, it is the only time I feel like I'm alive. It's the only time that I feel like I'm just not waiting to die when I'm in there fighting. Even though I hate it, it gives me purpose.
Years. And in boxing, time away isn't just a gap. In ring, it's a liability. But Tate's camp, they're telling a completely different story. One where he dominates without breaking a sweat. Inside Andrew Tate's circle, there's a strong belief that this fight, and even his upcoming bout, isn't close. Supporters are framing Tate as a completely different level of fighter, pointing to years of discipline, experience, and a mindset they say most opponents simply can't match. And it's not just confidence, it's expectation. There's already talk about the spectacle, the attention, the kind of event this could become if all the right pieces fall into place. Because when names like these are involved, it stops being just a fight and starts becoming a moment. The build-up to Tate's return fight is already intense, and we're not even at fight night yet. What's driving the hype isn't just the matchup, it's how personal things have gotten. The trash talk, the viral moments, the tension. It's all escalating fast, and it's happening in full view of millions of fans. This isn't controlled promotion anymore. It's turning into something raw, unpredictable, and very real. Things crossed a line when the rivalry stopped being just about fighting, and got personal. We're now seeing direct shots, public callouts, and moments designed to provoke, not just promote, and fans, they're locked in, watching every move, every response, every escalation. Because when emotion...
And he won't be making the trip alone.
I understand he's had a girlfriend for a while. We've never really seen him like that, but he just seemed like a different guy. Like,
she's changed that man's life, you know, and she's turned Sean into a different animal. It's not even bad, but she's like definitely made him kind of step up the person he was, which is really cool.
Kind of men don't wear mittens.
She's the sweetest girl in the world, and we razz her all the time. Like, what the hell? How'd you end up with Sean Strickland? She's probably the greatest thing that's happened to him since I've known him.
We almost broke up once. Tell you why. So something happened. We're talking about if I accidentally kill a man.
Enters the equation, fights don't just sell better, they get dangerous. Now, here's where things take a turn. Because the fight itself isn't just about what happens in the ring. There are serious questions about the rules, the structure, even the contract behind the scenes. Claims of favorable conditions, weight limits, and controlled environments are starting to surface. And whether those claims are true or not, they're adding another layer of controversy to a fight that's already loaded with tension. Andrew Tate isn't just stepping back into fighting. He's stepping into power. With influence inside the promotion itself, he's operating on two levels now. As a fighter and as someone shaping the environment around the fight. That changes everything. Because now the spotlight isn't just on how he performs. It's on how much control he really has. Tate's training camp is being presented as intense, disciplined, and relentless. The kind of preparation meant to send a message. Early mornings, brutal sessions, constant work. It's all being showcased to build the image of a fighter fully locked in. And whether you believe the hype or not, one thing is clear. He wants the world to see that
I said, we're going to go win this fight. And he kind of like perks up and looks at me, and I go, now say it yourself. Because I'm going to go win this fight. And I was like, say it with conviction. He said, I'm going to go win this fight. I said, now, listen, I don't care with the odds, none of this shit. I said, the only people that matter are the five of us in this room right here, right now. We all believe that you can win this fight. Nothing else matters. So let's go out and go do our job. And he looks up at me, he's like, to the death. I was like, to the death, kid, let's go.
When I was 17, one day I wake up to my mom and my dad fighting. He like was holding my mom in the room saying, you know, like crazy shit. Like, you know, you're probably like boss, you're probably, you know, like your mom.
Fight, every viral moment is pushing this closer to reality. And if it does happen, this won't just be about boxing. It'll be about ego, influence, and finally answering the question both sides keep circling around. Who's actually the better fighter when the talk stops and the fight begins? Here's what most people completely miss about Sean Strickland, and it's exactly why someone like Khamzat Chimaev could end up pushed to a breaking point dealing with him. Strickland isn't predictable. One moment, he's going after easier targets, and the next, he's walking straight toward the most dangerous guy in the room like he's got something to prove. That's not an act. That's who he is. And that contradiction, that mix of calculated aggression and reckless fearlessness, is exactly what makes this potential clash so volatile. Strickland's mindset isn't just about fighting. It's about control over something much deeper, his breaking point. He believes every fighter has a limit, but most people train
doing that. So I look at my dad. I'm like, Dad, like,
Mom's working. You're on like disability right now. Pill popper, like she got to go to work, dude. You got to let her go to work. She pays a mortgage. So he gets in my face. He's like, I'm your father. You're gonna talk to me like that? And I'm just like,
okay, dude. Like today's a day. I'm like, I'm done with it. And I
pull my headbutt and break his nose. Falls down and starts crying.
Just watching like fall to the ground, like crying, holding his nose, bleeding. And I'll never forget like the monster, like the boogeyman in my life.
Like you're the guy that I was so afraid of my entire life. You know, like when I was a kid, you were my boogeyman, and like you're
themselves to quit before they ever reach it. And in his world, that's weakness. So instead of backing off, he does the opposite. He pushes further, harder, past that voice telling him to stop. And over time, that rewires you. It turns pain into something normal, even necessary. That philosophy right there, it explains everything about Sean Strickland. This is a fighter who has trained himself not just physically, but mentally. To ignore fear, override hesitation, and push past limits most people never even get close to. So when you start talking about mind games, intimidation, pressure, the usual tools fighters use, they don't land the same here. Because when someone is already at war with themselves every day, it's very hard to break them from the outside. To understand Strickland, you have to understand this. Fighting isn't just what he does, it's the only time he feels alive. Not because he loves it, but because everything else feels empty. That's what makes this dangerous. Because when someone like Chimaev tries to provoke him, it's not just promotion. It taps into something deeper, something personal. And when you hit that level with Strickland, the reaction isn't calculated, it's real. There's another side to Strickland that most people never see, and it doesn't make him easier to understand. It makes him more unpredictable. Moments of vulnerability, flashes of emotion, and then
Sean, you're the world champion!
Oh, look at this thing, man. I found this laying around, you guys. I'm going to keep it for a little bit.
Well, how do you prepare yourself for that? How do you work on not letting, 12 pounds of gold there, letting the moment be the only champion, I'm telling you, that would ever have done this. A brand new champion putting his belt on the floor, it really doesn't matter to you.
It means absolutely nothing. I'll win, I'll lose. You'll win, you'll lose, man. As long as you guys are happy in your own life, this means absolutely nothing.
Does the belt do anything at all for you?
It's hidden in my closet and a pile of dirty clothes.
But a certain
Suddenly, a shift into something much darker. That contrast tells you everything. Because when you're dealing with someone who operates on both ends of that spectrum, you're not just facing a fighter. You're facing a mindset that doesn't follow normal rules. Watch closely and you'll see it. The internal battle Strickland goes through every time he prepares to fight. This isn't confidence without doubt. It's someone pushing through fear, forcing himself forward no matter what. That kind of mindset isn't built overnight. It's carved in over years. And when someone like Chimaev tries to step into that space and apply pressure, he's not dealing with a typical opponent. He's dealing with someone who refuses to break. If you really want to understand what triggers Sean Strickland, you have to go back to where it all started. Because the way he responds to pressure, to disrespect, to confrontation, it's not random. It's rooted in experience, in things most fighters don't carry into the cage. So when someone tries to intimidate him, it doesn't just feel like competition. It feels personal, and that's where things can escalate fast. Here's what separates Strickland from most fighters. He doesn't care about the belt, not the fame, not the status, not the validation. To him, it's just an object.
Bro, why are you so angry? Bro, you think your dad beat the shit out of you? Your dad doesn't have shit on me. Every childhood memory you have is gonna come back when I'm in there with you. Every single one, the one where you lie in bed at night when your dad comes in and he beats the shit out of you.
I will take your soul, you understand me? You put...
And that changes everything. Because if you can't motivate someone with legacy, with rankings, with titles, then you're forced to face them on a completely different level. A much more raw one. This right here is what a real snap looks like from Sean Strickland. Not controlled, not strategic, personal. When he feels pushed too far, he doesn't just respond, he escalates. And he goes straight to places most fighters won't touch. That's not trash talk. That's something deeper. And if Chimaev ever pushes him to that point, it won't look like a normal rivalry anymore. Behind all of it, the aggression, the chaos, the unpredictability, there's a backstory that explains why Strickland reacts the way he does. A past that shaped him, a team that helped rebuild him. So when someone disrespects him publicly, it's not just about
the response isn't just emotional, it's protective.
At his core, Strickland isn't just fighting opponents. He's fighting for something most people take for granted, belonging. That's why certain words hit harder, why certain moments...
Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to scratch my gum, and I have a hole in my gum.
Just from being nervous and stuff?
Nah, just anxiety, you know? Because I'd have so much anxiety as a kid, and I would just scratch my gum until, like, I'm just blood, you know? And, you know, you're in pre-elementary school, you don't know why you're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I remember being so scared when I was a kid. Like, I remember hearing that, like, animals, if an animal peed somewhere, another animal wouldn't come. So I would stand up on my bed at night and I would pee around my bed in a circle because I was afraid that things were going to get me.
Who were you afraid? Like, any particular? Just
everything.
Trigger stronger reactions, because when you've spent your life searching for that, Mr. Bor for Koan the Whites and Brisi and Uterti. Doing I defendis satser ansendak and see board a claim in Dei and then han denbri berbrace chi denbri advently, and if someone tries to take that away, even verbally, the reaction won't be subtle. There's a contradiction at the center of Sean Strickland that makes him so hard to read. On one side, he sees himself as someone who doesn't matter. On the other, he's become someone people connect with in ways he probably never expected. That internal conflict between self-doubt and impact is more... Jake Paul just said something that's got the entire fight world on edge. He claims he would dismantle Andrew Tate in a boxing ring. Fast. Not edge him out, not outpoint him, completely take him apart. Now that's not casual trash talk. That's a direct challenge with real weight behind it. And the moment it hit the internet, it lit a fire under one of the most explosive potential rivalries in crossover combat sports right now. Because this isn't just about two guys fighting. It's about ego, influence, and...
My crowning achievements, I think, not as a coach, but as a human being, is, you know, we've given this guy a home, you know. He comes from a rough upbringing. You know, it's tough to hear those stories, and it's hard for me to make excuses for some of the things that he says and some of the ways that he acts. But if you really understand him the way that we do, you guys would fight just as hard as we do for him. He's our guy. And sometimes in life, man, you just have to empathize with someone's history.
Two massive personalities colliding in a way that feels almost inevitable. For a long time, the idea of the Paul brothers going head-to-head with the Tate brothers felt like background noise. Something fans joked about but never truly expected to happen. That's changed, and it's changed fast. Now, with both sides actively stepping back into the fight spotlight, this isn't just speculation anymore. It's a storyline picking up real momentum. Jake Paul is gearing up for the toughest challenge of his career. Andrew Tate is re-entering the fight world after years away, and suddenly, the timing lines up perfectly. And here's the shift. People aren't asking if this fight happens anymore. They're asking when. Jake Paul is deep in training right now, preparing for a fight that could define his entire career, a massive leap against a legitimate heavyweight force. And yet, even with that kind of pressure, he's already looking ahead, because Andrew Tate's name keeps coming up. Natsonodekti Dorsalbarai.
I need this round, okay? I need this round. Sean, well, look at me. Everything right now, we're fighting for that little kid inside of us, Sean. Save nothing for the swim home, baby. Save nothing for the swim home.
By giving him a leadership role, by telling him that we care, that we love him, like, you have to understand that it takes a village and an ecosystem of what we have. But what you've allowed him to feel in his heart has allowed us to be able to coach him better as a human being.
I love you guys. You welcome me. I feel like you guys are my family.
Not as a maybe someday opponent, but as unfinished business waiting to explode. The conversation has moved past fantasy into something that feels real, especially with talk of a full-scale event featuring both the Paul brothers and the Tate brothers on the same card. Think about that for a second. Two families, one night, global spotlight. That's not just a fight, that's an event. When Jake Paul was asked directly about Andrew Tate, there was no hesitation. No doubt, no second guessing. He made it clear, if they ever step into the ring, he expects a fast, decisive finish. That level of confidence comes from activity. Jake's been active, training, fighting, staying sharp, all them being while Tate's been out of the game for years. And in boxing, time away isn't just a gap, it's a liability. But Tate's camp, they're telling a completely different story, one where he dominates without breaking a sweat. Inside Andrew Tate's circle, there's a strong belief that this...
And I think, as weird as that sounds, a lot of people learn that through watching people like you evolve through fighting.
I hit people in the head. I'm making no difference in society. I'm the ass.
I want you to embrace that you're a better person than you were then. It seems like you kind of like fall back on this I'm a piece of shit thing. It's almost like you use that as like a little bit of a shield. Yeah. You don't have to do that.
I would beg to differ that you show people that they're not alone. They've seen themselves in your shoes or vice versa, and they feel like, hey, I have a companion on this journey.
This has been one of my
fight, and even his upcoming bout isn't close. Supporters are framing Tate as a completely different level of fighter, pointing to years of discipline, experience, and a mindset they say most opponents simply can't match. And it's not just confidence, it's expectation. There's already talk about the spectacle, the attention, the kind of event this could become if all the right pieces fall into place. Because when names like these are involved, it stops being just a fight and starts becoming a moment. The build-up to Tate's return fight is already intense, and we're not even at fight night yet. What's driving the hype isn't just the matchup, it's how personal things have gotten. The trash talk, the viral moments, the tension. It's all escalating fast, and it's happening in full view of millions of fans. This isn't controlled promotion anymore. It's turning into something raw, unpredictable, and very real. Things crossed a line when the rivalry stopped being just about fighting. And got personal. We're now seeing direct shots, public callouts, and moments designed to provoke, not just promote, and fans, they're locked in.